Hello, everyone. Welcome to an awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day it's fun and exciting to learn about new things you can do with the Claris FileMaker platform to make your lives better, make your customers' lives better, make your organizations better. Even if your organization doesn't appreciate you, which happens a lot. I appreciate you, and we all know what a difference you make in your organization. That's a true statement, absolutely true statement. So that's all the upcoming broadcast schedule. If you go to FMTrain.tv, you will see this. So you can scroll down here from the top. This is all data coming out of FileMaker. We eat our own dog food, right? So although I think you could probably build this with WordPress, so it'd be one of those kind of things I would ask Ron about at some point. Ron's here today. He's going to come back for a whole week of training. So today is just kind of an opener to kind of introduce us to this topic. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to be over here monitoring. I'm going to hit the button right here. We're going to activate Ron. Ron is going to be activated. And I warned Ron what was about to happen. So Ron's had all this time to figure out what his answer is. So Ron, you've not been here before. Ron is nervous. I'm telling him just to talk to me. So let me just make this. So if it sounds like it's about Richard, everyone, the conversation is with Richard. So Ron, I'm going to ask you this. Who are you and why should Richard, why should I give a that you're here? Why?
Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me. Longtime viewer, first time caller.
Okay, cool.
So who I am, I'm Ron Glen Cates of RGC Data. My experience, I've been developing for over 15 years with FileMaker. I was first introduced to FileMaker with FileMaker Pro 7, even longer ago than that, and actually got my first taste of FileMaker with Scriptology by Matt Petrowski and John Mark Osborne. I'm sure some people can remember that. I'm currently the senior developer at RGC Data. That's why my name is Ron Glen Cates. Then you can remember RGC Data.
Hey, do you prefer to go by Ron Glen Cates or just Ron Cates?
Ron Cates mostly. I mean, I pretty much just go by Ron. The only reason I use Glen is so that people can kind of associate it with the company name of RGC.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if we didn't think you were like Ron LaCates, which would be like the
No.
brother of Andy LaCates, which would be very strange.
When I met Andy LaCates, we had that conversation about how we might be how we might be distantly related. That was at Pause on Air. It was quite a story, but anyway, so moving along. So I'm also have been for the last several years, about 4 or 5 years now, the host and facilitator of the Kentucky on a FileMaker Developers Group. We meet the fourth Tuesday of the month on Zoom at 12:30 Eastern. And you can check it out at kyfmp.com, and everybody is welcome. This past year, I also was asked to be on the volunteer committee to help put together the recently full access conference that just took place in Los Altos, California. We are also planning the next full access conference that will happen in August 24th to the 27th in 2026. And that's going to be at Asilomar Conference Grounds in Pacific Grove, California. And you can check that out at full
Let me help. Pause. Yep, that's all I want to do right there. So everyone, it's Monterey, California. So this is where the home of where the first FileMaker conferences were many, many years ago. I will simply tell everyone briefly, there is no FileMaker Developer Conference for next year. Okay, there's whether they call it Engage, they call it DevCon, they call it Oompa Loompa Con. It doesn't matter. They rename it. It doesn't matter. Developers get together. It's a developer conference. There is no Claris Apple conference for the FileMaker platform next year. So you might want to find a conference to go to. If you're in the United States, the western part of the United States, feel free to think about this conference as it's 4 full days from what I understand. So
all right. So moving on. Just, I was involved last year to build the website, which is a integrated data-driven WordPress website and registration system integrated with FileMaker. And we'll be looking at that later on because it's one of our real-world examples of where we've used this plugin. So today we're talking about powering WordPress with FileMaker. We're going to be basically creating a local development environment with a local WordPress website. Then we're going to install the plugin and we're going to load the demo database. And we're basically going to be pulling and pushing data in and out of FileMaker within about 5 to 10 minutes. So So when it comes to website integration options, I just wanted to run through some of the better known ones. Pulling data in and out of FileMaker, of course, Claris Studio is Claris's offering. And then there's some other really great names in the industry like FM Better Forms and Proof Kit by Proofgeist. Those are great applications, great solutions, but it's always the right fit for the right job. And a few years ago, when I was starting to do this kind of integration, I realized there wasn't a whole lot out there for WordPress. So that's why I started developing a plugin for WordPress, and that's CWP Snippets. So why are we talking about WordPress? Well, basically because WordPress powers 43% of all websites. It's 60% of all content management websites. And the closest competitors are Shopify with 6.7, Wix and Squarespace, all under 10%. So obviously WordPress is a major player in the website game. And, the percentages go even higher among small to medium-sized businesses, which I dare say is what our bread and butter really is. But the real reason I started working with WordPress is because that was the platform of choice for the clients who came to me wanting website integration. So the scenario was basically this. They already had a website. It was already built in WordPress, and they wanted to integrate with FileMaker. So I kind of had to figure out how to do it. And it took quite a while of trial and error and figuring out different ways to do it before I came up with building this plugin. And this plugin is a culmination of all of the efforts over a couple of years that I had with figuring out how to hodgepodge and piece together an integration with WordPress using different components and within that environment that were not built to do it, but I was able to do it. So I decided to build this plugin so I could combine all those components and set up the integration environment all in one shot and kind of save somebody else all the pain and anguish that I went through trying to figure out how to do this. So what is CWP Snippets? Well, what it really is a full-featured snippet management plugin for WordPress. If you're not familiar with what a snippet management plugin is, this is how I did my initial integrations, is that I used a snippet management plugin. I wrote the code, I put it into the snippet management plugin and injected it into FileMaker, into WordPress. But there were a lot of other components that had to come into place. So CWP Snippets is basically a snippet management plugin that manages and stores custom PHP, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS code. It provides a code editing environment within WordPress so that you can actually edit the code right within your WordPress admin. It's built with robust error handling to report syntax errors and prevent critical errors from crashing the site. So we've put a lot of work into trying to prevent the user from putting in bad code to keep you from crashing your own site. And so we've gone a long way to protect you from yourself. It allows you to easily inject custom code into posts, pages, widgets, and shortcodes. And then you can create global function scripts and styles that are applied site-wide if you have the Pro version. So what are the FileMaker components? Well, the FileMaker components, basically the plugin has built-in functionality to secure credential storage and management. So you can put in your username and password and store it within the WordPress settings. And then it manages the tokens and the connection lifecycle. So if you're not familiar with using the Data API, when you reach out to FileMaker, the FileMaker server gives you back a token. And that token has a life cycle of 15 minutes. Within that 15 minutes, if you reuse it, it resets the clock. So the plugin, CWP Snippets, has all of the functionality to be able to manage that process, to get that token and reuse it and manage the life cycle. It comes with an object-based PHP library that handles all the direct interactions between WordPress and FileMaker. I know most everybody is familiar with the fact that if you're working with the Data API, there are a lot of them out there. They're like FM Restore from 24U has one. Back in the day, it was FMPDA. And what it is it's a collection of the functions that connect and interact with FileMaker. But one of the things that I found is, although I was able to use some of those other libraries when I was building my WordPress connections, they are not built for WordPress. They don't follow the security standards and practices to work within WordPress. So what we've done is built a library that is actually specifically designed for WordPress. The plugin comes with a separate demo database and separate demo setup to provide basically what it does, along with a library of templates and samples. I wanted to make this a learning environment. So the plugin actually provides a space where you can play around, where you can test with a demo database and learn how to work with the data that's being brought in and how to, you know, push the data into FileMaker and receive the responses back and everything. So there's kind of a safe playground to do all that. So that comes with sample snippets. There's a set of sample snippets that work with the demo database to show you an actual, a few completely flushed out pages that work from the demo database. So it's, again, it's the whole purpose and point of this was to kind of create an environment that people can learn from and have plenty of examples to draw from to build their own codes. So talk a moment about setting up a local development environment. In order to work on this stuff, when I wanted to start doing this, I thought it was important to be able to set up like a WordPress site on my local computer. For doing that, the standard for many years was to use XAMPP, which is a good choice. And there's plenty of kind of videos and instructions out there on how to set up that environment with XAMPP. But more recently, we've gone to using Local by WordPress Engine, which is specifically designed to easily be able to put a WordPress website on your local computer that you can work with. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set up a local WordPress site using Local and show you how easy that is. So I'm going to create a new site in Local.
I'm going
Call
to
it.
ask as we go that this is cross-platform, or is this like Windows only?
Yeah, everything is cross-platform, including Local, and everything that we use and see in here is cross-platform. So set up my admin.
Okay, so let me ask dumb question here. So you're setting up a local WordPress site on
Yeah.
your laptop or desktop or whatever this is. So we're not
Yep.
talking about something being hosted somewhere else. It's all on your local computer, correct?
That's what we're doing here today. Yes. So
Okay,
that,
great.
again, it's about having that environment that I can safely play in without actually playing in my live site and ending up putting my live site at risk while I'm learning how to do this.
Okay.
So that's as easy it is. The website is created, and now we go to the administration. And there we have it. We're now working within a WordPress website that is on my local computer.
I haven't done WordPress probably in 7 or 8 years, so I don't know. I mean, is this the standard look for it when you dive into a brand new one? I don't do this. I haven't done this in a
Yep.
long time. So,
Yeah, this is just your basic starting point, bare bones WordPress website. So,
okay. And let me ask the questions for WordPress. What can we do? I mean, I guess you're going to show some practical examples here, but understanding kind of what I mean, because some of you have questions about can you use this for yourself? Please ask the questions. I can repeat them back to Mr. Ron. But I mean, so really like not is this about shopping carts or not really, or is it about managing blogs or managing? I know you're doing registrations, I guess, right? So
yeah. So what we've done both with the Kentuckiana group, which kind of got me started, was we built a registration system for the Kentuckiana group, but also it's what pulls up like our upcoming events. It's what displays our archive of videos and things like that. So all of that content of that website is actually being pulled in from FileMaker. And then moving on to the full access conference, we did a paid registration system. We integrated with Stripe and all of that kind of stuff. But then all of the session lists, all of the attendees, all of that stuff that's displayed on that website is all being pulled from FileMaker. So basically, you can do anything that you want to do with this. because it's really about custom coding. So it's about, whatever you want to build into place. This gives you the platform to build it. So that's where we're going.
Okay,
So
copy.
right now, what we're going to do is we're going to download the snippet plugin, then we're going to install it, and basically that happens by going to CWP Snippets, going to the download page, fill out the form, hit submit, and the download link will be sent to you. And the download, then what we do is we go to plugins, add a new plugin. So I've already got the plugin on my desktop, and I just go and choose the plugin here and install, activate the plugin, and there we have our CWP Snippets plugin right there.
Okay.
So the next thing that we want to do once we install the plugin is we
So,
want to,
so
yep, go ahead.
I'm going to ask a question here. So that once to clarify, this is a plugin that's installed on the WordPress side, not necessarily on the FileMaker side.
That's correct.
Okay.
This is, yeah, we should probably clarify because we know there are FileMaker plugins as well, but this is a WordPress plugin, and that's what
Does
this is
this
all about.
plugin have to be authorized by WordPress, or is it just kind of a do your own thing?
No, and WordPress doesn't necessarily work that way for authorization, but what I
Okay.
will tell you is that when you go to add a plugin, you can go and search WordPress's repository.
Mm.
And it is quite a process to get your plugin in their
Listed.
repository.
Yeah, in a repository. Okay, great.
And honestly, we went through that process and we got rejected. The reason being is that they've already got a number of snippet plugins, and so they didn't see the value of adding ours to their repository, which we tried to repeal that and explain how it's all about the FileMaker integration. And when you go to plugins and you search for plugins, if you search FileMaker, this is all that comes up is a couple of form handlers. So we tried to explain to them that like
Oh, they,
there's
they just didn't understand that FileMaker's a thing. Okay, got it. All right.
right. They didn't see the value in it, and so we weren't able to get it into the repository. That was a big disappointment that we weren't able to get in the repository. So you do have to go to our website to download it directly from the
Yeah, but
website.
that's why you come on the show. Then we can like
Yeah.
supercharge it. Hey, so we do have questions. You want me to ask questions in flight? They're on topic, and you can just say yes or no.
Yep.
David Angel, who's the class clown here, says, "Will this work with WooCommerce for WordPress?"
Yes, it like we've done some things where we've used our snippet plugin to be able to integrate with WooCommerce, and like it's not a direct integration. It's about custom coding your own hooks into WooCommerce, and we've been able to successfully do that to be able to take like a shopping cart after checkout and be able to take that data and feed it into FileMaker. So
Yeah,
so
but
all
that's
things
not.
are possible.
It's possible, but yeah. So if that might be something that would require more help or more guidance or more
It
something.
might, yeah, there are definitely some things that, it's very much like FileMaker. People download FileMaker and start doing it themselves, and then maybe they get into something a little bit too complex and they're not ready, to handle something that complex, and then they reach out to a FileMaker developer. So,
Yeah.
we're here for that purpose if anybody needs any custom coding
There's
help.
a second question here. So
Yeah,
let's talk about before we get super deep into this, you've installed the plugin. So
yeah.
WordPress is local on your computer. FileMaker Pro is local on your computer. Is FileMaker Server on this computer too?
The FileMaker server is any FileMaker server. The one I'm going to be using is my development server, which is on a box in my office here.
But
But
that's a
it doesn't.
required part of this.
A server is required. It must be a hosted database in order for the data API to connect to it.
Okay, so we're
Um,
using the Data API, which is essentially custom web publishing. So the David
yes.
Angel asked, "Hey, this has nothing to do with custom web publishing." Not really. Your custom web publishing is going to be the listing repository of the communication off the FileMaker server to talk to WordPress
Yeah.
because you're talking about a REST API data going back and forth, right? So
Yeah. So that's why it's called CWP Snippets, is for custom web publishing. So
Okay.
that's the what CWP stands for in the name. So
So the CWP snippets is teaching or showing or demonstrating to WordPress how to talk to FileMaker server. Is that
right,
kind of
it's basically it's setting up all the back end connection to be able to talk back and forth with the FileMaker server so that the user who's installing this plugin doesn't have to worry about any of that. It's all been done.
mm, David
So
Angel, does that help? Because now, in my mind, now I'm clear as to what this does, right? David, Alco, Ed, Foxy, Jack, Hot Air Balloon Kenny, you folks have questions? Yeah, that was super helpful right there. That bit of knowledge. Okay, cool.
okay. So let's so the next step once we install the plugin is to move on to the next slide. We're going to set up the demo database so that we can use the template snippets and be able to demonstrate actually pulling data and pushing data to and from FileMaker. So the demo database is located, you have two different settings. You can set up your production server here under the main settings. This is where you would put your server location, your database, your default layout, username, and password. But we also have a separate setup. So basically, you can set up to connect to two different servers. So if your demo database is on a different server, you can have the demo connection is like a separate connection. So we basically set that up so you can have that playground separate from your live production site. So our demo is located at dev.rgcdata.com. Actually, before I do that, let me demonstrate. So the demo database is right here. You just click here to download it, and we'll save it to the desktop. And so one of the first things that we need to do is to grab the demo database and load it to our FileMaker server.
Yeah, I was going to say open it up and then post it up to the server.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oops, hit the wrong button.
Okay, test question for everyone who's not Ron. If we're going to post a FileMaker file to the FileMaker server, what security considerations should we adjust? I'll take answers on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord. Ron, you can keep going.
Okay. So the demo credentials are all right here. There's a full access username and password for the demo database. And then there's also an API username and password for the demo database. And all those can be found right here under the demo settings credentials. So we come in here and our full access password for this is, what was it? Oh, drawn a blank. I know this like the back of my hand, but it's just admin and admin 123. Okay. So
Or API. I think it said API.
API is the actual API credentials for
I was
accessing
looking at the
the
wrong one. Sorry.
yeah. All right. So we sign into our database, and then what we want to do is load it to our server. And this is where we would check and see, like, if you want to access a database, one of the first things you have to do is make sure that you have a privilege set that allows for the data API. One of the important things, and this may be uh, a spoiler for your question, but one of the important things when working with the data API is that you want to set up a dedicated user for accessing with the data API. You don't want to use any real person account, any admin account, or anything like that. You set up a specific account for the data API so that you can manage the security specifically for accessing with the
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the extended privileges there because that's what I
yeah,
want to
that's
see.
what we're looking at. And then we have to
That was
make
a question I asked, and everyone kind of horked it into the weeds. So,
yeah.
uh, you
So
have to have extended privileges, something in extended privileges because extended privileges manage what? They manage how a FileMaker file is shared with other services, shall we say, right?
yeah,
WebDirect or API. So here we go.
yeah. So yeah, it has to have access via data API enabled. Um, and that's kind of the only important thing I wanted to show right here because I've already got it loaded on my server. The other important thing to know is that on the server itself, the data API has to be enabled as well on the server. So if we go to the server and we go to connectors and we go to Data API. We've got to make sure this switch is turned
Okay, hold
on.
on. It's under, is this the current server right here? Is this 22
Uh, it's, let's
or
see,
21? Is it 21, 22?
21
Okay,
for
that's
my
fine. I'm
development
not
server.
complaining. It should, but it's not 20 because I know that would change a little bit. They
Yeah.
redesigned. So you hit connectors, everyone. So the server hit connectors, then we hit data API, then we hit enabled, and
Yep.
then okay, there we go. Nice.
That's it. Once that's done, then you can access any database on your server with the data API. So in our case, as I said, I've already got the database loaded to my development server. And so now I just need to enter the credentials. So I've put my server location in there, and then the demo database is CWP Snippets. The default layout is contact details, and then the user is API and API 1, 2, 3. When we hit submit, this is actually going to check that connection and make sure that the credentials are successful. So this connection successful tells us we have successfully reached our database on the FileMaker server. So so the next thing that we can look at now that we've got that all in place, now we can actually start looking at pulling data from FileMaker. And as I said, the plugin comes with a complete set of templates for all of the functions that we would associate with FileMaker. Create record, delete record, duplicate record, edit record, so on and so forth. So if we go to any one of these, I like to use get record. So if I go to get records, and I hit edit, this shows us the coding environment where we actually see the actual custom coding right here. And then if we hit preview, we've actually pulled this data, and this is the PHP array that is returned from FileMaker. It's actually returned a JSON, and the plugin converts it to a PHP array. And this is our data coming directly from our demo database.
Okay,
So,
stop. Repeat that again because it was a big lift right there. So we
okay.
go back, go back one. Okay, so you're saying these are the templates, and these are
Yep.
templates on the WordPress side. So
Yep. And
these are templates in your SW snippet app and the WordPress. So we're in WordPress. We're going to say create get records. So if
yep.
we click on that, okay, go ahead and click on get records. I'm walking
I
through
hit on
this.
edit. This shows me the actual code.
This is
So I
the
can,
code from your plugin,
yeah.
right?
Well,
Okay,
this
and
is the code that is saved within the plugin.
that
It's a snippet. This is a
yeah.
snippet.
Right. I got it. But it's we're looking at the WordPress side. We're not looking at
Yes,
FileMaker at the moment. Okay, cool.
correct.
Then we say we run it, I guess, which is the word preview,
Yeah,
and so it made a call to the custom web publishing engine through DAPI, everyone, right?
yeah,
And this is the data that came back.
that's correct.
Okay, I'm framing this for those of us who don't do this every day, all day, every
Yeah.
day.
So so we're at our starting point where we've set up our demo database, and now we have all
Mhm.
these functions that we can play with.
Yep.
But the other thing that we can do is we can look at, I'm going to show you the samples after I do this next part, because let me kind of continue so I can stay on track and not get lost with
No,
my
you're fine.
student.
We're just I might have you repeat things, so that's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
So the good news is that CWP Snippets provides the complicated coding necessary to build and connect with FileMaker, your web integration. One of the benefits of this is it provides a contained environment where your entire integration implementation can live. Uh, Basically, the scenario is I may be the FileMaker developer, but I'm not the webmaster. So, like the scenario that I described before, a client comes to me, they've already got a web designer, they've already got a webmaster, they've got a WordPress website. Well, if anybody is at all familiar with WordPress, you know that if you go into that website and you start editing stuff like the theme CSS or the theme functions files or other things in there, that webmaster may come along behind you and do updates and changes and overwrite all of your work. So one of the
Mm,
benefits of this plugin is also the fact that all of your integration can live right in the CWP Snippets plugin. So you can tell the other webmaster, just leave my plugin alone and we'll be fine. So that's just kind of one of the added benefits.
let me just spend a moment here on this real quick. I know you have as much time today as you need from me, but let
Okay.
me just lay this on everyone. And it's a story I haven't had to tell in a long time. So, having a website on an HTML website on a page, and it's initially built by the webmaster, and then the FileMaker people put changes to the website. And what web people tend to do is they have a local copy of it on their computer. They upload it and they work on it locally, then they do the sync thing where they push it to the server. Fine. Then we post a new version with FileMaker retyped it in, and it's what Ron's talking about right now. And what ends up happening is that we make a change, and then the customer says, "Hey, let's do some other stuff, whatnot." The webmaster, who are typically art people, historically they're not code people. They're more on the art side. At least that's been my experience. Maybe not in your case, but my experience has been that any more art people. They go onto their computer without even thinking about it. They make changes to their computer. They press the button and it pushes a new set of code. So they start with their code, it overwrites whatever's on the server. It doesn't take into account that the FileMaker database people put fixes in there to talk to FileMaker. So you'll get this call, hey, what the hell's wrong with you, Richard, and your company, and your team, and whatever, because this quit working. And you're like, I swear to God, it was working this morning. And you look at it and it's broke as hell. And what you find out is the web guy either didn't know or didn't give a shit. And it's actually resulted in some web people being fired over the years because because then we have to go do the work again.
Yep.
And and the customer has to pay for that. And the customer, I mean, I've actually seen web people get fired for overwriting and not paying attention. So what Ron has done is build a job security method in there for people who will blow your shit out, right? So
Yeah.
as long as they leave Ron's plugin, the CWP snippets alone, they can mess with the rest of it, is what I am hearing, Ron. Is that a true thing?
That is exactly right.
Yep. And
So,
I've been there and I could tell you these people's names and stuff, and it goes way back, and it was, and it's like, you hate it because you know it was working. You swear it was working, and it's
yeah.
dead. And man,
Yeah.
ooh. And then and you get the web guy on the phone, right? And they'll give this is what happened. The web guy gets on the phone. This is not Claire's web guy. And they go, "Hey, did you make an update?" No, we don't make an update. And I said, I swear it's made an update. No, I never touched it. And so what happens is that then you pull the logs, and the logs show, yeah, the web guy logged in an hour and a half ago and changed his. So either he's not aware of what's going on, or he's a lying piece of. And
Yeah.
so, just so you know, it's a. This is a. It may not seem Ron's making a good news like about this over here, but this is a big deal in the world of
Yeah.
not running into people and destroying their work. It's a big deal. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay. So then we have the bad news, like we talked about.
Oh no,
CWP.
we can't have
Yeah.
bad news. We only want good
Yeah.
news.
CWP Snippets provides custom web publishing environment. So you are still responsible for your custom code. The CWP Snippets doesn't write your code for you. But we're back to good news again. We now have AI, and this is what has made this so exciting in the last year or so. The ability to do what's called vibe coding in AI has opened the door to the possibilities, the things we've been able to do in the last year with the CWP snippets plugin and the coding that we've been able to do utilizing AI has been just amazing. So I'm going to demonstrate how we can do that. And so the scenario is goes something like this. I've already created a prompt, but I'm going to tell you how I created it. So this is my prompt. And what I've done is I've come to my templates and I've grabbed my get records template, just came in here and I copied it, and then I went and I put it into my prompt. So I started off, I'm working with WordPress plugin, and Jex tells AI that I'm working with a snippet plugin, and then I give it my template code. Then I give it uh, the resulting data. So I go ahead and I grab this array and I put that in my prompt as well. So I'm saying, here's the code I'm starting with. Here's the data that it returns from FileMaker. And I put all that in there. And I'll jump down because it takes a while. And then at the bottom, I said, please write the code in separate CSS to display the records in a table with the following columns: picture, name, company, city, state, county. So basically, I'm just kind of laying it out. Use this. I have a default image placeholder. Also add pagination. Uh, Remove the run script after option. All this stuff. So now that I've built my prompt, what I can do is I can go over to my preferred AI. And in this case, I like Gemini, mostly because it kisses my butt more than any of the others do.
Okay.
Oh, it really does. Oh, you're 100% correct. Oh, you're absolutely right. That's a wonderful idea.
Oh, it's a kiss ass AI. Okay, I've not
Yeah.
used this one.
Yeah, that's kind of won me over. So we're going to cross our fingers because 8 out of 10 times this works right out of the gate. So we'll hope this
Eight
is,
out of 10. Okay, okay.
yeah,
I have a quick question. When you say vibe coding, explain
yeah.
to everyone what is vibe, because I mean, is vibe a product or is this a technique or what are we
No,
talking about here?
I actually picked up the term at the Full Access conference because Jacob, God, I can't remember his last name. He's actually going to be the presenting at our Kentuckiana group this month. He did a session on vibe coding. And vibe coding apparently is just the term that was kind of coined recently about just telling what AI what you want, and having it just like you don't necessarily have the specifics about how you want it built or any of the details and all that stuff. You just kind of start with, hey, here's some data. I want a list of contacts. And then you build from there. And so apparently that's what's called vibe coding. So
It
you're
gets
like
the
looking for
vibe
a
of what
vibe.
you're it gets the vibe of what you're trying to do and it tries
Yeah.
to build it. Okay, I get that.
Yeah. So, okay, it's come up with my code.
Okay,
So now what I'm going to do is
where do we stick that?
that's what I'm about to show you. So I
Okay,
grabbed my code
sorry.
from AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm going to come
Come
over
over
here and
here.
I'm going to I'm going to go back to snippets because there's three categories. There's snippets, templates, and samples. Snippets
Uh,
are your production snippets. This is where you want to work with your actual, the snippets that you want to add and work with. So I create a
mm.
snippet. Let's call it contact list. And then I paste my code in. Make sure, yep. And then I save it. And then I hit preview and cross my fingers and well, oh, I forgot there's CSS that goes with it. So we got to get the CSS.
Whoa,
So
whoa,
one
whoa,
of,
whoa, whoa. Is it in two, okay, you're scrolling too fast. Go back to the top. Sorry.
yeah,
So that's the PHP, and then the
yeah,
separate CS. Scroll down,
yeah,
right in here. Okay.
yeah.
So then we got to
Okay.
grab that too. Sorry, because your head was really
And
big.
here's the thing that I kind of forgot to mention at all. Unlike most snippet plugins, ours is built to have the ability to add accompanying CSS. So we have a separate field. It's the same snippet, but we have a separate field where we can add our separate CSS, and that gets injected alongside of our snippet code. So by adding the CSS, now when we go to our preview and refresh, there we go. Now we have our contact list. And that was one prompt with AI. We fed it the template code, we fed it the return data, and it was able to build a contact list.
All right. I was just writing David Angel's vibe is giving you the results you want. AI creates the code. Yeah, once again, it's not. So if I say a precision strike weapon like a laser guide bomb, that's the opposite of vibe. Vibe is where you kill
Yeah,
the western part of the town and everyone there, right? It's
yeah,
the because it's good because you're gonna get it's gonna get the vibe of what you're doing, and then you're gonna refine it as you go. But it starts off as
exactly.
a big wow right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So this is how easy it was to pull data from FileMaker and create a page.
Let
Bam,
me
there it is.
let me ask a question. So
Yep,
WordPress largely operates itself and does what it does, okay, without FileMaker sitting there supporting it. So this data will only in the big picture, is this data getting put into a SQL database then, or is it only just ripping it out of custom web
It
publishing?
is not. This is a direct back and forth connection with FileMaker, and everything that we're doing and that I'm showing is working with the FileMaker data. So in one way of putting it, we're basically cutting out the WordPress database,
Yeah, which
for our
is
results.
kind of fine until you have a high usage website, a high busy website, and then I would worry about
Right.
performance.
And
So
that's definitely something to be considered, and something that I actually have some stuff to talk about that. There's definitely plenty of stuff to be considered because let's be honest, FileMaker was not built to be the back end of a website.
no,
That was
no,
that
never
was
was. Shiegel, once again, now you got everyone lathered up. They're all bouncing around on Discord. Shiegel says, "This is spectacular." Yeah, no, Chief, this is awesome. This is why I'm here. Does this have to be a full page, or can you tell? I'm gonna editorialize what he said, or can I tell the AI for this to be a card within the page?
Absolutely could tell AI to do that. One of the other things that I also probably wasn't real clear on up to this point, the preview button is only for development. The way we're actually going to pull this stuff in is by putting a short code in a WordPress page. So we'll end up going to pages, creating a page in WordPress, and then, yeah, I
Yeah, I
didn't
haven't
want,
done this in a long time. This
yeah, I
is,
didn't want to have to go through all this. This is kind of
uh-huh.
why I didn't. But that's, uh, and then you add a short code, and the short code is, in this case, you copy this short code and you put that as your short code.
Go ahead and do that. Just do it real quick. We're
Okay.
following. I get what you're saying. Because so
Yeah, it's
yeah, you're testing the short code, but you'd actually go into the HTML or whatever their markup
yeah.
language is in
So
here,
if I just
paste a
go
short
here and
code, and then
let's
just do something like
contact list.
you are so boring. That's fine. Keep going.
Yeah, I know.
Publish, hit publish. Okay, publish, publish,
Yeah.
publish. Yeah,
And
that worked. I
then
recognize that. I've seen that before. View page.
view page. And there we go.
Okay, so it's a real WordPress page. It sees the snippet or the short
Yeah.
code. It goes to the plugin behind the page. It grabs the PHP and the CSS, and it runs it. And
Yeah.
it gets the data in real time out of FileMaker. Questions from anyone? Andrew from Liverpool says, not secure though. Is there an HTTPS version question mark? We're doing
H.
local development, Andrew.
Right.
So let me help with Andrew. Maybe he was here late, or maybe I wasn't clear. I'm going to wait. Take this is where you take a drink, Ron, real quick while I talk.
Okay.
Okay, this is how that works. So if I hit the button here, so what we're saying is that if from the infrastructure setup of what Ron has going right now, I'm going to say he has a laptop or desktop computer. He's running Windows, but it works on Mac. On his computer, he has FileMaker Pro. He also has a WordPress installation that's running probably Apache or whatever it's running, Nginx or something. So WordPress and FileMaker Pro both on the computer. FileMaker Server is an essential part, and that's a different computer. So what's happening is he's screwing around with WordPress. It makes the call to the FileMaker server, which is hosting database, and because Ron has FileMaker Pro running, he can log in the database and make edits to it. So it's really this is kind of the conventional idea where we build custom PHP pages and stuff back in the day, but Ron's doing this vastly simpler, vastly better without a bunch of coding. Because the one thing AI is good at, if you think about the people who built AI, a bunch of nerds, right? And I'm not being mean. Right? What do nerds know? Every last one of them knows how to build HTML pages, and they're like, God, this sucks. And is there any way to make this better? So the one thing AI knows how to do more than anything else is to build HTML web pages, right? And so that's what he's doing. So this infrastructure-wise, this makes sense. So local computer has WordPress on it. Really, that would be on a server too somewhere probably, but he has it on his local computer, Pro on his computer, FileMaker server on a different computer. His WordPress page generates a request to the FileMaker server and brings it back. And then
Yeah.
if he chooses to go over to the Pro FileMaker Pro, he can monkey with the data in the FMP12 file that lives on the FileMaker server. That's being
Yeah.
called, right?
And
We
so
all good?
this being our development environment locally, it's not HTTPS secured, but in a
Right,
live
right, right.
website on the internet, it will be. You're not going to work with an unsecure website on the internet.
Okay,
So
so Andrew says he was late, and it was good that I'm implying this, but it was good that I waved my hands and you took a break so I could reemphasize your setup, right?
yeah,
So that's also, which is what Ron got, is he's saying that since it's local on the same computer, we're not worried about SSL certificates.
right.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to show is, and you'll see, I have a set of sample files, which is basically contact list details and add edit. And as you'll see, looks pretty familiar. So in other words, you can tell I built this with AI too. So this is actually a set of files, pages, snippets that are fully flushed out, like they're working. I can go to the details page, I can go to edit, I can actually edit the information and send it to FileMaker. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me go back to my list, go back to list and find my record. Oh, there we
There it
go.
goes. Okay.
Okay, so then if we go to this one, uh, buttons want to be clicked right on the text. So, and then if I go to edit, we can see, so let's take a look that in our demo database, this is the data that we're pulling. We've got Ron Glen Cates development, we've got phone numbers, we've got emails, we've got addresses. My email, let's start with email. I've run some tests on this one, so this kind of shows. So I can come over to here, and if I delete this email, I immediately go to my database and it's gone. If I come over here and I add an email, on one, and RGC, that's good right there. And then add the email. I got to come down here and hit save. And then when I go back to my database, there's the email that I added. So this is just demonstrating that this is actually live data being pushed in and out of FileMaker. So there's a working set of samples that are basically, it's like you're just another kind of roadmap of, okay, let me see some examples of how the code is being implemented.
Can I say, so if you go back to your snippets, you had a contact kind of scenario. Did you have any other little?
Not that come preloaded,
Okay.
but I will
Okay.
kind of get into talk about that in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Hopefully, God, I know we're going to end up
This
running
is why I
late.
told you it would take a week. This is why,
Yeah.
because
And this is why, I'm so happy to come back for a week. So let me kind of just jump in and hit a couple of key points. So here's where I can show some real world examples. So first we're going to look at the Kentuckiana Developers Group. And this one was entirely built with the free plugin, the free version. So if we look at this website and we see here's our upcoming event, here's we've got a sidebar that shows some other upcoming events. We've got recent presentations. We've got an archive with our, archive of our videos on YouTube. And then of course we've got stuff like a contact list and all that kind of stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate by going to jump to the WordPress admin for that website. I'm going to go to the plugins and I'm going to just deactivate CWP snippets. And then I'm going to show you what the site looks like. So keep in mind what you're seeing here. And now I'm going to show you what's missing. And that's going to tell you what's being pulled in by CWP snippets. So all of that data is coming from the FileMaker database, and that's what's being pulled in by the
yeah,
snippet
yep,
plugin.
yep, yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep, 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 yep. All
let's
sorts
go.
of important stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And then if we go to archives, you can see there literally is no archive because it's all coming from the FileMaker database. So if we go back and just reactivate.
I'm really bummed you're not doing this for a week now because I'm all lathered up. I'm all excited, and this is going to end way too early. Ron,
Yeah.
I tell you, I know myself, I know my audience, and I guarantee half the people here are frothing and excited.
Well, I'm definitely excited to come back in January, and I'm already working on some examples that are actually going to work directly with Starting Point, so we can
Okay,
actually demonstrate directly with Starting Point. So
that
let's
would
get rid
be
of those for the second.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
That would be
So the other
phenomenal.
website that for full access, which we've redesigned for 2026. Um, so right now we've got testimonials from 2025. All of these are being pulled in, but let me go to, we've got like a page where we review page for 2025. And so from here, the stuff that's being pulled in is these are all our testimonials. They are in a FileMaker database, our event management system, and they're being pulled into the web page by the plugin. If we go to our sessions for 2025, this is all being done by the plugin. So I could do basically the same demonstration. I could deactivate the plugin, show you everything that's missing. But really, what I wanted to talk about with this website is all of the cool stuff. We do have a pro version. And what that does is if we look at the snippets, it unlocks functions, scripts, and styles and stuff like duplication and importing and things like that. That's when we can get into doing stuff like custom API endpoints and webhooks and things like that that we can build that are all, pulling directly from the FileMaker database. And I know early in the show you mentioned we eat our own dog food. Let me tell you how much we eat our own dog food at RGC Data. Not only is the plugin website CWP Snippets has like all the stuff that's being pulled in from that, but the license management system, when you actually go to licenses and put in a license key and activate that license is being managed in a FileMaker database.
Okay.
The plugin is reaching out to a custom-made API endpoint within our infrastructure using our plugin that then checks the FileMaker database to see that the license is valid.
How
So
often does it do that? Hopefully not
uh,
too often.
it's set up to do it like once a day,
Ugh.
stuff like that.
Let me just help one real quick one here for you. 360 Works had to change that because they had an
Yeah,
outage one time and it caused all of people's shit to go offline because their
yeah.
license keys were down. So
Well, one thing that
just
I've done to protect against that is that
mm,
if the licensed checker does not reach the database, it
uh-huh.
does not change the status of the license.
Perfect. Thank you.
So
Okay,
it
good.
will not disable if the database is not available, the
I'm just
plugin will
sharing with
disable.
other
Yeah,
companies like yourself that where
yeah,
the giant landmine you step on it to
yeah,
unnecessary.
I
David
know.
Angel,
So
David Angel question. Here we go. Here we go. Do you need FileMaker? You okay? I think it's a statement. You need FileMaker Pro. Yes. WordPress. Yes. WCP snippets. Is that what we call this? No, CWP snippets.
CWP for custom web hosting.
On the same computer.
No, nope.
No, 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 no. This is just his test environment, right?
Yeah,
I think you could put it. Okay, Ron, let me ask you a question. Can you put all these
yeah.
on the same computer if you wanted to? Could you? Because a lot of times we demo FileMaker Pro and Server on the same computer.
Well, I think, there's definitely depends on what I know. Best practice is not to put a web server on your
No, no, no. I
database.
got that. I just got
Yeah.
that.
But they could, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
However, but again, you could load a FileMaker server on your local computer and run and make that connection. So,
Okay.
uh,
So let me. Okay. So Ron, yeah. So Ron's
yeah,
got a paid version. I'm not trying to get in the middle of that right here. Let's drop pictures here briefly here. Okay. Um, So let's say you have Pro running over here, you have FileMaker server, and say it's up in the Amazon, okay? And you have CWP running here. Probably in another cloud location, you would have WordPress running, and you'd
yeah,
have his plugin running over here, the custom whatever we call this, the Super
yeah,
Ron plugin, okay, which works that. So yeah, so it's this diagram here. These two things here are going to be chatting back and forth. The public, say this is the public, they're hitting a web page and they're looking at the WordPress, which is here. It's getting the data, getting it out of here. You're managing it from over here. This is the deployment. If you want to try to somehow combine this and put it all on your local computer for development, that's fine, but it's not how you
yeah,
roll it out to the world, right? So,
exactly. Yeah. So a couple of other things that I wanted to kind of get to, and I'm going to breeze through them real quick and probably not, I'll skip a couple of things. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, first of all, yes, we do have a paid pro license. The pro license pricing starts at $100 a year per site. So it's not a lot of money.
per
So
site. So like if I
per
have the,
site.
so if I have David Angels for David
Yeah.
Angel, then he would pay $100 a year to integrate that with FileMaker. Okay.
Yeah, and we have packages where it starts at one site for 99, three for 199, and so on. So
Okay.
that'll get you the pro licensing with a number of site, however many sites that you want to be able to do. And so that license management, when you put a license in a website, it checks the license against the FileMaker database, and then it adds that site location as one of your sites that you've registered. So again, eating our own dog food, doing all of that.
Good, good, good. I'm
So one of the
impressed,
other things,
Ron. I'm
yeah.
impressed, Ron. You've been working hard on this. You've been working very,
Oh,
very hard on this.
yeah, I'm so proud of the work that we've done. And so one of the other things I wanted to mention that we are working hard on right now, and this might be something that you're interested in. This is on our staging site. So this is not live currently, this what we call an add-on library, snippet add-on library. So this is all being managed in the database. It's pulling up a card for each one of the add-ons that we're offering. And so what this is going to be a library of pre-written snippets that we've written and we're going to make available to the public, or at least to our pro users.
Hey,
So,
we need WooCommerce. We already asked for that. So get on,
yeah, and we actually have where is it? Oops. Again, this is the development site, so it can be a little glitchy. We have a Woo. What we have is this snippet is specifically designed to be able to resend WooCommerce webhooks. So if you've ever used webhooks in WooCommerce, you'll realize that once it's sent, WooCommerce does not provide any method for going in and resending it. So if the connection failed, you're kind of stuck. So this little snippet just provides a place where you can go and resend your webhooks. So that being said, not all of a lot of these are not even necessarily going to be about your connection to work to FileMaker. Being able to have a place to store your authorized .NET keys or your Stripe keys, a form handler. This does connect and send your data to FileMaker. Um, you know, uh, there's just different snippets that we're going to make available, and some of them are just utilities that make it a little easier to work with in WordPress. So that's coming soon. We're working hard on getting all these kind of polished and
I
available for distribution. So
I am I am beyond excited. All right, so Hot Air Balloon Ken says, can you okay, I'm going to ask the question. I could answer it. Can you restrict access to certain records from WordPress from using WordPress security, or would you use the FileMaker security or something else? How would you do that?
that's where it goes back to when you set up your specific user for accessing with the data API, then you would use FileMaker security to go in and restrict the data that's being accessed.
Oh,
And then
oh, I think
the
he's
other the
okay.
other thing that you would do to not necessarily for records, but another important thing that needs to be considered is you really want to have specific layouts for data API to access because whatever you put on the layout is the data that's going to be returned. So you don't want to use a production layout that may have sensitive data that you don't want to be sent up to the web because then it exposes that data to the rest of the world. So you want to some of your security planning might be is about setting up and putting on those layouts only the data that you want to expose to the web. Setting up your FileMaker security settings to make sure that only records and things that you want to be available are set up for that user. So the security really comes down to setting up your FileMaker security to be able to provide only the data that you want to provide.
Okay, so Schmiegel is asking technical question. How is the server access information? So this is the FileMaker server access information secured within your plugin, right? I mean,
Yeah,
so we created a in the FMP12 file, we created a username and password. We
yeah,
posted the FileMaker server. We had to give that to your snippet plugin. Within the
yeah.
snippet plugin, how are you protecting it?
The PHP library, the object-oriented library that manages all that connection, actually uses a secure connection to do that. So it actually, I have to dig into it because I thought there was an option for being able to allow an unsecured connection, but
Well,
um,
I
yeah,
think what no, it's not just. I think well, the way I'm reading this question is if can you go back to the setup
yeah,
briefly, and then we go where we set up the server. We were doing that whole little thing, and
yeah.
then yeah. So where is this data, especially those bottom two right there on the left?
Uh,
Where are those saved to, and how are they protected?
That's saved into the built-in WordPress database, the settings database. So this is where we're actually using the WordPress database because we're storing all these credentials in the WordPress database, just like any other credentials or any other information that you would store for any other plugin. So that's standard practice across all plugins that when you put in like API keys and stuff like that, it gets stored in that setting database.
All right. James says that that's what he was asking. Yeah. So we want to make sure that's secure. Other
Yep.
questions. This is pretty. I mean, this is really. So, can I ask a question for everyone just to valid? I mean, if you have specific questions, but I saw this. I said, "Yeah, you got to come." This is back when he was he was actually doing a parking lot elevator pitch to me talking about this, and I'm like, and he
Yeah.
said WordPress, and I'm like, well, we haven't done that. We should do it. Then I realized this would happen, and I knew one day was, to be honest with Ron, I thought it was bullshit. Knew we needed him back for a week, and Ron's like, "Well, I just want to try a day before I make sure that you guys aren't going to kill me or something unsavory
Yeah.
happens on the show." Hopefully, you understand that we, me personally, I want to see you be as absolute successful as possible with this, and which
Yeah.
means I want this to be awesome, and I want you to have great answers. And so far, I'm very impressed. But we want him back for a week in January. I mean, sooner would be better, but Ron is Ron, and he's got his schedule. So, do we
Yeah.
want to have
It's
him
all
back?
about it's all about just making sure that I have content available that everybody's, especially wanting to build stuff that's integrated with starting point so that your viewers can really see it
Yeah, shopping
applied.
cart stuff is good. And
Yeah.
then to be honest with you, but if we were doing shopping cart, I wouldn't want it to be super real time dependent upon talking to the FileMaker server. I'd want it to be in my greedy sort of way, running with the WordPress front end system like Shopify
Yeah.
or something. And then
Yeah.
if we're loading
And then take the
products, yep, we load them or the orders come down when they.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that the all that information gets sent to FileMaker. So, and then one of the other things that we'll probably focus on is like a customer portal, the ability for your clients to log into Starting Point, be able to see their invoices and go and pay their invoices and things like that. That's what I'm planning on
Can we
working up.
build that into God? Yeah, because we could. I mean, to be honest with you, this is where you and I kind of get along, right? It's like if you had a free version of this thing that worked with Starting Point, and then people could upgrade for 100. As soon as you start making sense with free stuff, then
Yeah,
and it works, then people are happy to give you a couple bucks for the upgrade. Which for me, it's easy. It's like monkey bread. It's like it's
yeah,
so obvious to get it. People are saying buzz, yes, bring Ron back. One person said, kidnap Ron, bring him back, waterboard him for the information. So,
yeah,
um, yeah, I,
yeah. All I need to know from you is, what week do you want to do?
so everyone, okay, I'm waving. So you can be, help me with my planning. Help me with my planning. So interesting things are to me shopping type stuff where WordPress is front ending it, and then
Yeah,
we load products and we get orders back, and
yeah,
maybe we can see the customer whatever. But the point is that I don't, as people are beating on the WordPress side, I don't want FileMaker taking a beating on the custom
yeah,
web publisher. It's just not engineered for that. Um,
yeah,
that's a big one. What other things in WordPress do people? Because like for example, let me see. I'm seeing your screen. Let me share my screen. I'm going to replace the current share. This is a website that, as funny as it is, I never thought I would get to a point. This was never supposed to be my involvement with this, and then life happens, then shit happens, and this is a WordPress site. This is my family, and this was handed to me to take over. My dad's now 78, doesn't do this anymore. This is firefighting from the parent to the son, right? And this is what I do during the summer. And it's all this firefighting stuff, right? In the helicopter. And so this is WordPress, right? And
yep,
And for me, one of the things I want to do is be able to write articles and hit a button and then put them into WordPress because
Yeah,
because people have blogs and stuff, right? So
right,
that's like
exactly.
compared to e-commerce, should be simple.
So
So
one of the things that I didn't get to talk about today that is part of my slideshow presentation, some important considerations. Two things I didn't get to talk about is how do we pull files and images from FileMaker because that gets complicated with the secure URL that FileMaker returns. There's some stuff that needs to be done to be able to get those to display images. The other thing is caching. So it's important to develop a robust caching strategy because that's going to what's going to relieve the strain on the FileMaker server. First of
correct.
all, one of the problems that we have with caching is that the WordPress website environment does not know when the data has changed in FileMaker.
Correct.
So one of the things that we find right out of the gate is that we make changes in FileMaker, they're not showing up on the website. That's because the pages are cached and the website doesn't know to get fresh data.
Mm.
Because in the WordPress environment, it knows when its database has fresh data, but it doesn't know when ours does. Um, so we really have to manage caching because there are a lot of instances where we want to make sure that we're not caching so
Yeah.
that we're getting the live data. But then we want to look at instances where the data doesn't change very much. So we do want to cache. So we want to build our own caching strategy that basically will manage the strain on the FileMaker server by determining when are the best times to reach out to the server and when are times that we don't have to reach out to the server. And there's a few different ways to do that, and it gets a little bit like we're already like we don't have time to get into it today, but we'll definitely make it part of the
Right. Hot Air Balloon Ken has, and Hot Air Balloon Ken, we could do this, but you might want to reach out to him directly. You have to see. He says Hot Air Balloon Ken. Okay, reason we call Hot Air Balloon Ken because he does this big, huge nationwide hot air balloon event. He's an event guy. Sound familiar, Ron?
yeah.
And he
Yeah.
says, I want to do registration and apply that to the event setup and applying to participate in the balloon rally. So he
Yeah.
collects registrations. He also has to collect some of their IDs, their pilot license to make sure they're not,
Yeah.
drunk, So this is stuff you just did for full access.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Including, custom profiles, uploading profile pictures. We've got a system that I was really proud of where the name badges had QR codes, and one of them was to download a V card onto your phone and add people to your contacts. And that's using a custom endpoint with the snippet plugin to reach out to the database, grab that V card file, and feed it back through, which was really kind of neat. So, I mean, just the things that we're able to do, there is really no limit to what we can do with this.
okay,
The restrictions are about the complexity, and some things do get very complex, and that's
okay,
where, you know, not everybody is necessarily going to be able to jump in on their own and do this stuff without some help with a professional web developer or a professional like myself or one of my, uh, you know, uh,
one of the
developers.
people that
Yeah.
work for him. How big is your team
And
there,
we're of
Ron?
course available to do that. So
Yeah, Ron. Oh, absolutely, Ron. How
yeah,
many people on your team there? Do you guys have
there's
any?
just two currently.
Okay, so
Just
you're yeah. So
I'm in my infancy of starting off my business. I've been on my own forever. It was just last spring that I made the big decision of whether I want to be on my own for good, or do I want to build and expand my business. And that's what led me to take on my first employee and to build a product, and
okay.
things like that. So yeah, I
Well,
made the
we want
decision.
to help you with that, and I think getting it in the starting point is an easy. You can see the route being easy on that. Everyone here is all excited.
Yeah,
James says, "Awesome stuff! I can't wait for the deep dive. Thank you." Yeah. So we're
yeah,
this is this is your captain. We are landing the live stream airplane. Everyone, put your seat backs in the upright position and your tray tables up, and you know, put down your computer. So yeah, we're excited to have him back. And once again, I got some stuff here for me. Of course, I need to go and pay because now they're putting ads in here. So you could always go to WordPress. So hosting this on WordPress officially, Is that's okay? We could put the snippet there and the thing,
Yeah.
and okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah. It's pretty much, it pretty much doesn't matter where you host your WordPress website. You know, you
Yeah,
can,
I'm getting high levels of engagement from the people here. This is going to be a very popular recording. So, uh, good job, Ron. Welcome to making
thanks.
an awesome product that people want. Nicely done, especially with the vibe
Thanks.
part of it, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, really excited and really proud of the work that we're doing. So and I love the aspect of, my whole pathway on doing this was so that other people didn't have to go through the agony and pain that I had to go through in
yes.
learning how to do the data API and WordPress integration and all of those questions. It took me forever to find the answers to. They're all built in. So
Yeah, yeah, that's why we haven't done this before. We haven't found anyone who, who did WordPress, who wanted to talk about it, who, the entire conversation was about give me money. And I always
yeah,
told Ron, I said, the first thing you have a free one that does stuff and people value, and then you have a follow one that's paid. It makes it so much easier. So I want to
yeah.
thank everyone for the show. Ron, any final things? Because we're over time, but people are very happy about what happened today.
Nope, I'm just looking forward to coming back in January. So
We are looking forward to having you. We will send Margaret on a scheduling mission to get with you. We
great.
also are looking at a potential Claris update. As you're well aware, you saw the update on that. So, a number of things that are moving around, but we look forward to that. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday. I think Monkey Bread's here. Monkey Bread is so popular. He comes back like every 2 weeks just to come on and show the latest stuff. So,
Yeah.
if you ever get rich and famous, you're making millions of dollars a day, feel free to come visit us like every other week. We'll help be your advertising marketing department for you. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Richard.